All right, hello, beautiful friends. Welcome to another Free Tip Tuesday. Today, I want to talk about one of the simplest and quickest ways to help resolve pain. It is a really rapid shift that you can make, and your cue to do it can be anytime you start to feel some low back or hip pain. So it's something that I give to so many of my clients, and I have seen change people's lives again and again. If you're a lady, one thing that can contribute to low back, leg, and hip pain is wearing high heels. I don't always do it, but for short periods of time, it can be really fun. If you wear high heels all the time, you're going to have to do more work to counteract that. So toe separators, foot and ankle stretches are really, really important. But today, the simple hack is square the feet. So that is pretty specific. Most people tend to have a lateral rotation of the foot, so their feet splay out like this. This is very common. Some people are pigeon-toed and they have this internal rotation. Either one of these is going to impact your hip function, mobility, and pain. So getting the feet square is really, really potent and powerful stuff, even though it is so simple. It usually, if you've had any form of dysfunction, and again, some people are really drastic, most people have one foot that turns out or in more than the other, but to some degree, most people have some rotation there. So we want to have the feet directly beneath the hips. So sometimes when people have wider hips, or more adipose tissue, right, fat tissue in the hips, they think that their hips are structurally wider than they are, so their stance will often be wide. This makes the knees collapse in and you lose that natural arch of the foot, and you can actually create flat feet. So for people that are struggling with flat feet, we want to bring the feet sometimes even closer than hip width so they can begin to push their weight towards the outside of the feet more and begin to lift that arch again. Being barefoot is actually an incredibly valuable way for your muscles of your feet to spread out and activate. When they're stuck in high heels or even just regular shoes, we usually have a heel lift, even if it's a tennis shoe, and the front of the foot is compacted. So we want the toes to be able to spread out, because that's how we were designed to move through the world, is to get feedback from the ground that we're walking on so that the body can compensate naturally from there. Most of us have that shut off from our shoes. So barefoot is really, really beneficial. Anyhow, squaring the feet, so right beneath your hips. So if you're not sure where that is, even if you have a fair amount of adipose, if you wiggle around a little bit, you can start to feel for your hip points, okay? So that's the front of the hip. It's called the ASIS, the anterior superior iliac spine is what that stands for. But you can just palpate with your fingertips to find it. And once you've got that, then you can kind of tell, and it's bony, so it's going to be like a bony ligament sort of, or bony protuberance that's going to stick out a little. So even through a lot of thicker tissue, we can still usually reach in and find, oh yeah, that's a little more firm or hard than like a squishier spot. So once you find that, then you can line up your hands and you can see, are my feet pretty much beneath that? That's going to help you. If you don't know, a full-length mirror is a great way to check out. So just because you might have thicker hips, that doesn't mean your stance needs to be so wide. If you notice or know that you have knee pain or that you have flat feet, your stance is most likely too wide. So we want it like this. And then once I have most people who have a lateral rotation, even if I get their feet in the right place, their heels are still going to be narrow, because that feels safer and more natural for them. So what I have people do is, maybe once they're in the right spot, then we turn the toes in more than feels a little comfortable, and we turn the heels out a little more than feels comfortable. If someone's really pigeon-toed, it's going to be the opposite way, obviously. Then we're going to have to start to rotate the feet out a little bit and rotate the heels in. So it just depends on what you're working with for your stance, but getting this squared, it's going to feel really odd at first. So I just want you to know that once you feel like your feet are square, your hips and legs and back might feel strange or foreign to you. That's actually great. I want you to recognize that feeling in your body so that you can know, oh, this is what it feels like to have my feet squared. Another thing that can help is having your heels all the way against a wall, because another thing I often see is one foot will be slightly ahead of the other, and this is also part of the dysfunction. I've seen this correct people's hip pain pretty regularly. I have people who come to me and we get a lot of relief in one-on-one sessions, but maybe they've had something flaring up. I had one gal who's come to me for years and her pain had been resolved, and then she had a flare up for a couple of months and she wasn't sure what was going on. And when I got to look at her, saw it was a foot rotation thing. One of her feet was more laterally rotated. We got her feet squared. She felt better almost immediately, and she really was consciously maintaining those squared feet. And the next time she came back, she said, I have had zero pain, zero restless leg syndrome, which were both things she was dealing with. So that's just from squaring the feet. It's potent, okay? So I'd love for you to try this. Let me know if you have questions and how it feels. Again, it's gonna feel funky in your body to get them squared initially, but recognize that funky feeling and start to tell your nervous system, oh, this is home, this is safe, this is gonna benefit me. And it will. All right, hope you enjoyed that. Would love to hear how it goes for you in the comments. Talk soon. So much love to you. Be well, be balanced. Mwah.